Hey, it's Netter. If you're into Path of Exile 2, you have probably already seen the Grinding Gear Games patch 0.1.1 preview video.
Well, we're back from our break.
Or at least heard about the upcoming patch. And if you haven't, I linked the patch preview video down below. This was premiered on a GGG livestream that took place yesterday, and followed by a 2.5 hour interview where Darth Microtransactions and Ghazzy interrogated Mark and Jonathan. I have to say, I was actually surprised by the quality of the interview. DM and Ghazzy really asked the right questions. When the GGG patch preview stream was announced a couple days ago, nobody really knew what to expect from it. Perhaps we would get a couple of nerfs for the glaringly obvious OP builds? Maybe a loot filter on console? More than one portal for pinnacle bosses? Better jackets? How about all of those and a million things more? I was absolutely blown away by the amount of quality of life and updates we're getting so soon. I took notes throughout the interview and summarized all of the important information for you guys. Almost nothing the developers said during the interview was a negative for me personally, so I don't have much criticism to offer. It's mostly all positive changes and buffs. Besides a couple broken interactions, we will see no big nerfs this patch, which is awesome. And because of the news, I decided to finally try out the incredibly strong synergy between Pulse Circle Ring and Herald of Ice. I was reluctant with becoming a Herald of Ice enjoyer because, like everyone else, I also was expecting it to be nerfed pretty hard in the upcoming patch. The background footage that's playing currently has been shot with the new build, and since I was able to set it up with a somewhat cheap setup, like about 10-20 divines, not using Astramantis, I'm going to conclude it in my upcoming build guide video. That's enough about my warrior. Let's address all the highlights of the interview. We are not getting a new league or economy reset in the next month. This is alright with me, even though I would have loved an economy reset without any big content being released to the game, as starting from scratch with everyone else is always super fun. But they want to combine the economy resets with bigger content releases, such as major balance changes, skill and class releases, etc., to gather and analyze better data. Maps in endgame get a higher reward floor and ceiling, meaning that overall players are going to be rewarded a lot more from running maps, both at the beginner and expert level. The goal of the developers is to make maps have different strengths and weaknesses. Not all maps should be the ideal layout for everything you want to achieve. The minimum reward went up, so players will more easily sustain their maps, especially beginners. Levers without dodge roll and burning ground on them was unintended, so that will be removed as well. Bad map layouts will have better ways to reward the player, but the layouts won't be changed. That's outside of Tower. We are getting 3 new variants of the Tower map, and the current one has been overhauled as well. Boss spawns have been fixed to actually be 1 in 4 maps. They were spawning a lot less than intended. And we also get precursor tablets that can add bosses to maps. They improved visual clutter across the board and removed the on-dev effects that do nothing to your character, but heavily decrease game performance. Elite attacks, meaning attacks from bosses and certain rares, disappear when you kill them and their corpses will no longer detonate. Strong boxes now open a lot faster. Ritual has 60% increased chance to offer omens as a reward, and Expedition will also receive buffs. The goal is to provide unique character power or crafting avenues that are otherwise not available through League mechanics. Since Expedition does not add anything unique currently, it will get that. We can now find citadels more easily on the map, as they are indicated with a pillar of light within the fog. We now get 6 portals for the Arbiter fight, and other pinnacle bosses will receive more portals in the near future. A bunch of low-level uniques have been buffed. A couple of those were actually mentioned in my previous unique leveling items video, so feel free to have a look. The link is in the video description. We can now replace our socketed runes and soul cores from socketed gear. This is something I was expecting to be changed since the first time playing. Tiered rares will now be able to roll good mods. Some tiered rares were bugged and removed certain mods from the mod pool, such as attack speed on tier 5 rare bows. This explains why I found so many good rares that were not tiered, where most of my tiered rares have been an absolute disappointment. In addition to that, we will see less bad mods on items overall, meaning less accuracy rolls, less life on kill, and less mana on kill. Where personally, I think that mana on kill is quite a good mod actually. The devs also considered to change the tiering system to how it works in Path of Exile 1, where a tier 1 mod is the best mod tier. Or at the very least indicate next to the mod that it is the highest tier. A ton of monsters that had overtuned damage have been nerfed. Console is getting a loot filter. I have been praying for you guys and the prayers were answered. This is so huge for you console gamers. Charm slot modifiers on belts get increased weight and will be more likely to roll. We also have better visual feedback whether your charms are charged or uncharged. The developers also said that charms are a newer thing that is not yet complete. There was a small security breach revolving the Steam client which affected 66 players. Thus, concerns around account safety were raised. We are getting two-factor authentication soon, so that's awesome. The developers are okay with the current state of Magic Find. It is the same formula used in Path of Exile 1, outside of the rarity affecting currency. They are not completely sure about it being too impactful and simply need more data to analyze. And now, for the news we have all been waiting for, at least for my fellow Warrior gamers. They agree that Warrior is the most busted class. Just kidding, the developers actually agree that Warrior is literally the worst at everything. In campaign it's fine, but there seems to be some problem with endgame scaling, and they also agree that the skill speed is an issue. We are getting a lot more things for maces, so Warrior buffs soon boys, it's coming! The devs also think armor needs to be improved, and they are arguing internally on how to approach the problem. Currently, the biggest issue is that Energy Shield and Evasion has a lot better synergy. We are going to see a big change to armor in the future to fix this. The devs agree that crafting is too much of a gamba and understand that players want more determinism. We will receive more information on crafting updates later. They want to improve the transition from campaign to endgame. The story just kind of stops abruptly. Complete X-tier maps is boring and they want to add better and more fun objectives, in addition to a bit more hand-holding for newer players. They also want tier 1 maps to be easier and ramp the difficulty more throughout the Waystone tiers. They do not agree with players wanting to be able to swap ascendancies. I think this is a bummer. It would be great for early access if more players could tinker with and test things more easily. We don't get any major balance changes soon, but it is important to realize that the developers aim to have pinnacle bosses not be one-shottable. They want them to be 1 to 3 minute intense fights, regardless of the power of a build. And I completely agree. What else is going to be the difference between Path of Exile 1 and 2? We will get many changes to the core Atlas tree as they think it feels boring and bland right now. A map stash tab is also in the works and we should be seeing that very soon. A bunch of crash fixes are coming and I suppose that goes hand in hand with performance optimization. They don't know how to fix minion pathing yet, but they are working on it. We are not getting any changes to trading or an auction house for non-currency items. We will soon be able to disenchant flasks for the currency item class Bilber's Bauble. The devs are considering to add checkpoints to maps as well, which is something I have been wanting for forever, so I really hope they add it. We will not get any movement speed as an implicit on boots, as they like the way it works right now. All microtransactions will be ported over from Path of Exile 1 to 2 by the end of early access. Now, for my final notes, they have massively improved the load times of the campaign map, the Atlas map and the Atlas passive tree. And we can zoom out a lot further on the Atlas map. Feedback that surprised the developers the most was that players actually complained about DPS being too high, and nobody seeing the pinnacle boss mechanics because of it. The devs think that only things that need to be fixed immediately are interactions that are truly game-breaking, or causing FPS or server issues that impact other players. I don't even know what I'm most excited about. There are so many good things coming with this patch. What is your favorite change, or if there's something you actively dislike, please let it know in the comments down below. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please let the algorithm know by liking the video, and subscribe if you'd like to see more of my future Path of Exile 2 content. I hope to see you next time.